Good morning. All right, I'm going to give it a few minutes, as I always do, and see if we have some folks join. Good morning, Crystal. Happy Sunday. Thank you for being here. All right, I got some thumbs up. Looks like I have a few people joining in. I am. I I'm actually out of the country, so I'll talk about that in just a minute. Good afternoon, Key. All right, I'm going to give it a couple of more minutes and then I'll get started. Good afternoon, Linda. Very nice. I'm going to talk about that actually in just a few minutes. Um, and I'll talk about that, the cost of it too. All right, I am going to do my intro. Hello, Autumn Blue Rose. I love your profile pic and the way you've got your name set up, Crystal. I like your profile pic. I see everybody's doing all the things. Linda has a beautiful flower. Good morning, Teresa. Happy Sunday to you. All right, I'm going to do my intro, my kickoff, and then we'll get started. Thank you all so much for being here. And so I will say good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Actually, today, this Sunday, it is still morning for me where I am, so I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. My name is Jewel Pearson, and this is Miss Bohemian Soul TV. And this is Creating Home, a tiny house series. This segment we are going to kick off is the What's Your Question portion of the segment where I answer frequently asked tiny house questions, and we talk about all the things tiny houses, all the things. The other segment in the series is the conversations on intimate spaces, and if all goes well, and as planned, we will have a guest next week that we'll be in conversation with. So we'll see. Hopefully, all of that works out. As I introduce myself, I like to say that I built a kind of fancy tiny house in 2015. And since that time, I have shared my journey to inspire others who are interested in the movement. I offer coaching and consultations to help others in their tiny house journey, and you'll be able to find links to schedule with me in the video description below this video once it goes live and I update it. And as I'm doing all of that, I like to serve up a lot of representation in the movement along the way. I want us to see ourselves. I want us to understand how we're moving in this tiny house movement and understand our challenges as well as our successes. So that is a lot of the work that I want to do here. It is my intent to build figurative and literal community that is inclusive and accessible. And if you find this information in the video helpful, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on the notification so you'll know when content is available and when we are live over here in community. All right. Good morning, Day. Hello from Miami. And yes, Crystal, I am out of the country. So I was last Sunday. I shared with you all that I was in Myrtle Beach. I was actually attending the summit. My friends Rashida and Stephanie host a summit each year. This year was the fourth year Exodus Summit. This was Exodus Summit 2023. It is centering Black women in their desires to move abroad, leave the U.S. for a number of reasons. A lot of it has to do with peace and safety and learning how to rest and take care of ourselves and kind of leaving the rat race of what is often the United States. And not everybody leaves, obviously, but it is trying to center Black women and us taking care of ourselves. And so last week they had a 3-day summit. The summit was focused on location freedom, financial freedom, and time freedom. And hello, Viola. Um, I spent time like I really wanted to focus on the summit. So I was in Myrtle Beach, and I took off Friday and Monday from my corporate gig and to really focus on the content. And it was an excellent, excellent conference. Even better for me because I've watched my friends and colleagues grow their summit from the first year to something as fabulous as this year. The closing speaker was Tabitha Brown. They had Rachel Cargill, Olivia Rahim, several names that you likely know participated in the summit. So much good information, even if you're not interested in leaving the States, but just so much information on us as Black women taking care of ourselves um, and what that looks like and how we get to that. So much of it was reminders for me, some of the stuff that I talk about here, but it's always um, good to remind yourself of the things that are necessary. So, um, focus was one of the things that I took away for me of how much more I need to focus on the things that I have lined up that I want to do. And I don't think I've made it a secret that I really want to move out of corporate America and do this work, this tiny house stuff, the advocacy, the consulting, the helping others navigate this journey, helping others build their tiny homes, building communities, helping people navigate, find a community, making those connections. Like all of the things that I do, I really want to do them, be able to do them full time and have them be things that are sustainable. And when I say sustainable, things that will allow me to leave corporate America because this work is able to cover what I need covered financially. So I know. So for me, it was really, really exciting and encouraging to see the work that Stephanie and Rashida have put into and see how it has taken off over the last 4 years and know that that was hard work, but they focused. So a lot of times I feel like I need to take myself more seriously and maybe prioritize my work as I can prioritize and focus on other people. So um, one of the things that um, I took away from that is the need for community. And I am, I think I've shared several times, I am very introverted. I have a small circle, and sometimes I feel like that circle continues to shift and navigate. And that was one of the things that was spoken about. How you're depending on what you're doing and how you're moving and how you're changing your community around you changes, and I've also shared that, but it is always a change to navigate through as people and community around you shift. And so it was a reminder that that is part of the process, even though it is often uncomfortable. And you just have to move through the grief of that. But um, I am used to moving by myself, so I am. Somebody said it must be cool where I am. No, I actually have on a sleeveless thing, and I'm sitting under the fan, so that's why I have on this shirt because I'm always cold. Um, so I could really get up and adjust the air in here, and I could take this off. But anyway, that's a different story. But I am in Panama, the country. I am in Panama, and if anybody follows me, this is my third trip to Panama. I really, really love Panama. It is on my list of places that I would consider living in. My dream isn't necessarily to live out of the country full time, but to, as I've also shared, that I struggle in the winter, in the cold, in the gray days. So it is my dream is more to have a place that I live in part time and kind of move about. And so Panama and Cartagena, um, Colombia are big on my list. So I am here because Stephanie, one of the co founders of the Exodus Summit, was coming here this weekend. And I just really just need an excuse to come to Panama. So I got here yesterday and we'll be here for a few days. And Stephanie is having a little meetup. Went to dinner last night, and so I'm hanging out. And part of me being here is trying to work on community because um, when you're introverted, when you're used to moving by yourself, like I don't do small talk. And I think Crystal can attest to this because Crystal has spent time with me. Um, Oftentimes people, for whatever reason, think I'm stuck up. And I realize it is because I'm not a big talker. I even out at things, I'm going to be the one that's kind of in the cut. I'm observing. I talk with people that are in my circle, people that I know, and I think those people know that I'm really down to earth and I'm really goofy. I like to laugh and be silly. But for somebody who doesn't know me, I get often that I am stuck up. I hear that I'm intimidating. I hear that mostly from men, but that's a whole different story. I think that's goofiness on their part. But anyway, we're not going there. But anyway, so I am here because I know in order to move in the places that I want to do and the work that I want to do and to grow my work, I know I have to immerse myself more in community. And so that I'm trying to step into that, and we'll see how that works. Um, anyway, so that is all the things. I and I encouraged you all last week if you have. Like I said, the Exodus Summit wasn't, and I don't get paid for the Exodus Summit, so let me put that out there. The Exodus Summit was not just about moving abroad. There were sessions on resting and healing and um, just so much that was valuable outside of someone who is interested in moving out of the country. It was finding remote work is around the location freedom, finding remote work because that's key for me. Like I'm not trying to be in anybody's office. And so having the opportunity to work remotely and not necessarily just working remotely for someone else, but figuring out how to move what it is that you're doing that you might consider a part-time or hobby, move that into something that you can do full time and monetize and it sustain you as remote work. So it was a lot of that. And Crystal said she had looked into it and she was saying that it was pricey. It was something that she'd have to look into next year. One of the things, so there is a community, an Exodus community on Facebook. There's Stephanie and Rashida both have big presence on YouTube, and each year they offer. I don't know how they determine the number of women, but they do offer a certain number of women um, entry into the summit, comped entry. There are a lot of women in the community who donate entry um, for other women in to the summit who might not be able to afford it but want to attend. So there is that option. I haven't really paid attention to how it works and how you know about it, but I know it's advertised because there, I think I heard this year that there were 40 women, and that number could be wrong, but I think that's what I heard, that there were 40 women who had been gifted for, I think gifted sounds okay, gifted the opportunity to participate. So I would say if you're interested, don't let the costs deter you in attending the summit or even participating in the community, because the community, the online community is free. There are a lot of tips that are provided and given and connections that are made that are free. And then there is the opportunity to attend the summit if you are interested. Um, let's see. I have not been paying attention to the chat. Thank you, Crystal. Um, I think I said hello to Viola. Good afternoon from Atlanta. Teresa is asking about the event, our community event next week. So next month, not next week, next month. So I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Um, Hello, Cynthia. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Happy Sunday, Michelle. No worries for being late. You're here. Thank you. Grand Rising, Rachel. Thank you for being here. Oh, thank you, Crystal. Happy Sunday, Rosalind. Good day to everyone. Husband is asking about Belize. So I have not been to Belize, and that is on my list of places to travel to. Um, my thing, so one of the things that reasons that I love Panama, and so this time is a interesting time for me to be here because it is more up there. It's still warm, but it's not as sunny as it normally is because it's raining more than when I visited in the spring, our spring, their summer. So they have more rain now. So today here it's gray, but it's still warm, and so this time is going to be interesting for me in navigating the city. So yesterday it was gray and then the sun came out and it got really pretty. So just it'll be interesting for me to see what I think about the city with the gray days. I'm not near the water, so I don't have a view because I can deal with gray, but seeing the water, kind of is a big trade-off. So, I mean, a big bonus. So, but I don't have a view this time. So I'm trying to figure out what I think about the city. But my draw for Panama is because I am a big city girl. I love big city feels and looks. Panama has a big central city. This time I'm staying in the old city, um, which Panama and Cartagena both have like an old walled city. Cartagena doesn't have a big city feel. They don't have a lot of big buildings, but Panama has a big city feel to it, and that is a draw for me. Panama also has access to a lot of the things that other countries don't because of the canal. So it has an American stuff is falling in here. Sorry, y'all. It has some of the American comforts, I guess, is the best way to say it, that you might be used to here, that you might not find in other countries. They also use the American dollar, so it's easier to navigate from that perspective. Um, so those are kind of the draws for me. Cartagena does, like I said, doesn't have the big city feel, but there are other places in Colombia that I want to visit that do have big city. Belize is on my list. Belize, I kind of see is more like a paradise, a beautiful, relaxing place, and so it's on my list to visit. For me, I still need some energy, and so I like places that still have like a big city feel. Oh, thank you, Crystal. This is when I was saying Crystal has spent time with me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see what Robert is here. Robert says, can't stay, but just wanted to see. Thank you, Robert. I hope you have a great Sunday. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, Crystal, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Melissa, are you saying, well, I get that a lot. I think you were saying I get that a lot as well. Is it where I was saying I'm introverted and people think I'm stuck up or standoffish? Um, yes, follow them for sure. But so yes, I think you all were responding when I said I've been given those labels also, but they get to know me. Yeah, you can't like that saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover." A lot of times when people think I'm standoffish or stuck up, I'm often uncomfortable because I'm not always comfortable um, in spaces that require a lot of um, energy or exerting yourself. I don't know what the best word is. I've also been very uncomfortable with, um, even though this tiny house work is the work that I love doing, I love I love talking about tiny houses. I have loved the exposure that HGTV has given to so that we can see ourselves in this movement. I can do that work. I can speak to a crowd, but I'm still very uncomfortable in those spaces. So it makes me uncomfortable sometimes, like when I'm out sometimes and somebody is staring at me. My first thing is trying to figure out, why are they staring at me? Like, do I know them? Did we go to school together? And it takes me a few minutes to recognize that, and sometimes I don't recognize. Like I was out one time with a girlfriend, and this woman was saying, "I know you," and I was going through the list of where'd you go to school, where'd you grow up, and I was doing all of these things. And my one of my girlfriends, she was like, "Goofy, she probably saw you on TV." And then the lady was like, "Yeah, I saw you," but that just didn't occur to me because I don't see myself that way. Anyway, that's a whole different story. I'm in my 50s, and sometimes I still feel like I'm a 12-year-old. So anyway. Um, so but that is part of who I am in uncomfortableness. And when I'm uncomfortable, it's this vein and right here in here, you can usually see that I either have something to say or I'm uncomfortable, and people who know me will know that and figure that out. Robert is saying hello to everyone. Michelle is saying, I've been given those labels also. People don't believe I'm an introvert because I'm a life coach, speaker, and facilitator. I have a small circle also. Yeah, like you can do the work. Um, and my circle will say that, will tell you I'm goofy. I like to laugh. I do talk a lot to them. I'm the person that has a goofy story of, I'm that person in my circle, but I'm not that person outside of it. Um, Michelle is saying an ambivert. I've heard that. I need to look that up. We need to recharge in our solitude, but are social. Oh, no, 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 I'm not that person. We need to recharge in our solitude, but are social in those kinds of spaces. No, I am not social like that. Unless I'm in a room like family, friends, like I know everybody in the room, then I can be social. But if it's a different space and I don't know people, I'm not social. So I'm clearly not an ambivert. Um, anyway, so what else did I have to talk about? So just kind of accountability for myself and figuring out that I need to put myself on a schedule. I am that person that needs to-do lists and schedules and all of those things. Like that's how I track myself, and I've not been that person for many, many years. I have a friend who I've always had a binder with to-dos, and that's how I built my house. I think I talked about that the other week, but I haven't been doing that for myself for the dreams and the things that I have um, lined up that I want to do. And so that's likely why I have not accomplished those things that I've wanted to do, because I've not held myself accountable. And that's a lot of what I need to do. Um, anyway, Patricia is asking, is there a senior tiny house community? So not that I'm completely aware of. Um, actually had a conversation with someone last week who's interested in building one. Most of the communities that um, and so let me step back and say some of the traditional senior communities are smaller homes, like the traditional every senior communities throughout the country are kind of tiny homes because they're smaller than conventional homes. So the answer to that is yes, in a way. If you're talking more of a tiny house on wheels community, not that I'm aware of, um, plenty of opportunity there. Um, so I think that's kind of the answer to your question. I'm not aware of a tiny house on wheels community or a smaller than conventional small homes communities focused on seniors. Um, I did have a conversation last week with AJ, and I spoke about AJ Lafier and Josh, who is Warren. What is his RV community, Worthen, something like that. And some work that they're trying to do within, or work that they're doing within their RV parks for tiny houses. And so more to come on that as they move through the work that they're doing. And I can invite them here and share the work that they're doing to focus on communities that center Black and Brown folks. So that's coming. Um, oh, thank you, Maria. I'm still undecided about hair. I am growing it out a bit. I feel like since it's getting ready to be winter, if I decide to cut it off, it won't be happening right now, so it can help keep me warm. And then there was some pain in growing it out as it was actually growing out of my head. So I don't even know that I'm going to cut it off anymore. I feel like that was a lot of effort, um, but we'll see. Um, Michelle is saying, I can be social, but it is not my preference. I like observing. I don't like small talk or shallow. I am so small talk, like I can't do it. Um, I I struggle. I struggle in corporate spaces, like get to know spaces because um, like sometimes you really don't. You're just there because sometimes you have to be there, or so the spaces that really I have no interest in, I really struggle in those spaces to have conversation because it's like it's not anything that I'm really interested in getting to know those people at that level. So I'm the same way, or I don't like events where people are so focused in I am this and I do so and so and like I, where their work in like their corporate job is who they are and that's how they find their value, like that's not anything real about that to me or anything really interesting about that to me. I like warm spaces, genuine people, those kinds of places, and that's where I thrive. So small talk and unnecessary talk just really make me glaze over. um, Viola is saying, as a child, I was called selfish. I'm shy and talk a lot now, or when you get to know me. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Um, Michelle is saying she's a planner. She uses the Franklin planner, a physical Franklin planner. So I have two of these. So this is my personal one, and I have one for work. Like I'm interesting in that I didn't want my corporate job stuff to be able to interact with my personal stuff in a planner. Like I didn't want it to spoil my personal stuff. Yeah, I have quirks, but it made complete sense to me. But this is a planner that I use that I really like because I am a writing person. But these pages, I don't know if you can see them, um, I can move them around as I make notes, and notes are referencing other things. I can move the pages around. So I really like this planner. But I am the physical. I do better with physical planners, and I also use my phone um, for planning. Okay, Crystal is talking about a planner notebook app. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm the person that has said you cannot buy another planner. But this one sounds like it's an app, so I'll look that up. Um, Viola is saying I have 267 1,000 miles on my car, I can travel alone. Oh, I love traveling alone. Some good loud music. Like, I don't mind sometimes people going with me, but the downside for me on a road trip is if I can't play my music loud. Like, if I mean, you'll have good conversation, but I really like to listen to my music loud and drive. And so, I driving is my superpower, and I love 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 driving. Um, all right, Crystal is putting us on to Zinnia, a digital. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, Michelle. Yes, 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 yes. Um, disc planner. So this one, let me do a plug for these women. So Notique is I love disc planners, and that's what this is called. Thank you, Crystal, because y'all helped me with the word. So where you can move the papers around. This is by a brand Notique, Notiq, and I know it's a black-owned brand. It's a little pricier than what I've paid for disc planners in like Staples and Office Depot, but I'll pay a little bit more to support some black and brown folks. So yeah, that is the art planners. Absolutely. Oh, she has the punch. So I actually will sometimes find other pages that fit into this notebook from other people that I like, but I have started supporting this brand because they're black owned. All right. Let's see. The Xenia app is only on iOS. So Crystal is doing some very cool things. She's rebranding. So if you all don't follow her on IG, as soon as she's doing her van life thing again. So as soon as she's in a place where she's um, interested in sharing what she's doing, we'll talk to Crystal on here and talk about the things that she's doing when she's ready. Let me see what else I have. Oh, so I want to talk about, no, that's not what I want to talk about. Remind you of the event next month, as Teresa was asking about it, and I want to share that information again. So this is the community event. This is the start of several community events, but we are starting in Charlotte with the community event. November the 12th is the community event that I'm hosting. That's the advertisement on the right, obviously, with my face on it. November the 12th from 1 to 6. I just dropped the link in the chat. The link is on Instagram in my bio. The link is also on my website. You see the website at the bottom, the Bohemian brand. The link to attend that event. It is November the 12th from 1 to 6. I don't necessarily have like an agenda. I don't, well, we'll have some conversation. There'll be some snacks. There'll be possibly some invited guests. I'm not trying to plan it to by hour. It's not a workshop. It is more of a gathering and community conversation. So I haven't figured out exactly what I will do for the online communication a conversation on that Sunday, but we'll figure it out. I may have a part conversation online and then just spend a few minutes online and then get into the community in person. So we'll see. And I also previously had shared that I was inviting you all to this other event that I am speaking on. If you're coming to Sunday's event with me and you're in the area, there is an event on Saturday that I am speaking at as part of the panel. Um, so that is not my event. I am just a panelist at that event, but our event is Sunday the 12th from 1 to 6. And I do hope that a lot of you are able to attend and participate. My next two locations will be DC and Atlanta, and I think in that order, but I haven't done the work yet to find locations and dates, etc. But that is the plan for next location. So I hope to see you all in Charlotte if you're able to come. So yes, Crystal, I would love to have you come. Uh, so I dropped the link. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Let me check on the chat. And like I said, next week I hope to. There's a guest plan for next week. Crystal actually recommended these guests, so hopefully they will still be on point for sharing their story and the work that they're doing with us next Sunday. All right, Crystal is saying she'll be in DC. And the DC, the location that I'm hoping to have this at in DC is also a location that I am looking to have a larger tiny house event, like a festival kind of deal, later in 2024, maybe, if we can work out all of the details. So hopefully that is will be the kind of like the first step in the intro of using that facility. And I've shared it before, the Eaton Hotel in DC. It is the only hotel that I'm aware of that has like a social justice aspect to it. So if you look it up online, it's a very cool location. And I am fortunate to have some connections there, people who are doing that work. And so the hope is that I'm able to use that space for a tiny house event, a bigger tiny house event than the community conversation. Well, come on, Michelle. I hope that you can come. Your birthday being the 11th, you come to Charlotte and we can all um, join you in celebrating your birthday. All right. I don't have a lot. It is 11:30 here. I am actually going to a meetup in about an hour. And so but I did want to, I'm looking at my notes to see if there's anything else I had to talk about with you all. I don't have anything else on the list to talk about. So I am still, as an update, I am still working with, on the app that I'm developing for the community connections around landowners, property owners, tiny house owners. The app will allow people who are interested in selling tiny houses, people who are interested in building community to connect with other like-minded individuals, um, hoping to have people who build tiny houses, like general contractors, those type of people who are interested in building tiny houses, to be able to advertise their services. There'll be a lot of disclaimers there that I don't know these people, but I want to be, as one of my friends says, I'm the plug. I want to be the plug to be able to make connections for people. So there will be a lot of disclaimers to say, hey, like I always say, do your due diligence. I don't know these folks. I'll try to ask all of the questions to hopefully help vet them, so that you can see some of their information, like have you built a tiny house before? If you share that information, share references, so to help you all do the work of vetting them. But I won't know these people, so I do want to have this space as to provide this space for you all. So that work is still in process, and I hope to have it available to share soon. All right, let's see. I missed the rain yesterday and cooler temps in North Carolina. Like I was saying there, it's rainy. Well, it looks like it's stopped. The rain is stopping now, but it's warm here. I'm not Rain and cool and gray just aren't my thing. So but it is raining, but it is at least warm, like hot here. Um, Day is asking, at some point, will you have an agenda before guests arrive? I will have a high level agenda of what we're going to do and talk about, but I am um, it's not a workshop show, so I won't have a very detailed agenda. Like I'm not teaching a class or anything like that. It is more for community gathering conversation. I'll share something, but it is definitely not a workshop. So I want people to be clear about that. Um, Rosalind would love to have you. Oh, thank you, Crystal. Crystal is saying, thank you for being consistent with your lives, even when you don't have guests. I have struggled with that, as I have shared with you all. Like it is, like I feel like I want to be sure I'm adding value, and I don't always feel like getting on here just talking is the best value add. So I'm glad that you all have supported and feel like this is still beneficial. Teresa is asking, does the Exodus group have any events planned for this year in the US that may be smaller events? So yes, so if you join the community, there are women throughout the country that are part of the Exodus group. And they have, so the Exodus group doesn't plan them, but the women in this community set up meetups and events in the areas that they're in. So there, Teresa, I know you are in the Charlotte area. So there are some women in the Charlotte area who have organized a meetup previously. I missed it, but they have meetups and events throughout um, where those women are gathered in other cities and states. Thank you, Elle. Thank you very much. The gray is really interesting. Like it's a young girl asked me, did I color my hair? And I was like, no, I've earned every bit of this gray, but I do like the way it's growing in. So this is, we'll see. I really, really love big hair, but I don't know that I will let this grow really big. Like I would just love to have a great big old messy afro, but I don't know that that's a lot of work, and I don't know that I'll do that. Um, let's see. We had a young lady on about a year or so ago who was working on finishing her bathroom. She didn't really have a bathroom in her tiny house. Are you following up with her? Who is it that you're talking about? Didn't have a bathroom. I gotta think about who you're talking about because I stay in touch with everybody that's been on, but I don't know who didn't have a bathroom. I gotta think about. Um, I'm gonna try to look on who while we're talking of who that might be. Didn't have a bathroom. Let's see. I'll try to figure out the who you're talking about, Michelle, and see if I can figure out who it is. Panama, is there a black community there? So yes, there is a black community, the Afro Panamanians. It's a big a black community in Panama. The challenge for me, and it's an interesting question, the challenge for me in other countries is that where you don't experience race, you don't necessarily experience racism like you experience racism in the States where it's white supremacy. There are big issues around colorism um, that also have the same thing to do with colonization. So you can kind of take it back to white supremacy. Um, but it has a lot to do with the color of your skin. And so it oftentimes doesn't impact Black Americans in other countries because the thing that we have when we're visiting those other countries is that we have money, and so we are given we their deference prioritization because we are Black Americans with money, and so there's some American privilege that you bring to other countries that we don't have in America as Black people. So we in those other countries we have American privilege. Um, and I'm talking mostly about in Black and brown areas. I'm not talking about like in France and England and places where you are going to experience racism. So what happens in countries like I saw it in Cartagena and I see it here. So when you're out, you'll see that in these like Spanish, Latin countries, you'll see most of the people like in service, the people in the front the people who in the hotels, they're the lighter skinned people, and you'll see the darker skinned people. People of other nationalities, darker skinned people are usually like in the back. They're the cooks, they're the help, they're the those things. And so that is a challenge for me because you know what that is. And it is still a form of racism. It is just not white. It's colorization. It's not white supremacy. So that's a challenge for me. But I stopped traveling as a tourist like um, many years ago, just like being in the hotel spaces or all inclusive spaces. And I try to seek out community and immerse myself more in real community so that you can kind of see that. I seek out the darker skinned Afro, whatever country, I mean, in whatever country I'm in, I seek out that Afro community. My very first solo trip to Peru, it was 2020, the year the pandemic happened. I had just come back from Peru, and Peru that was very, very obvious in Peru. Like even in Cartagena, they have zones and different zones of where people live, and the zones you can tell the more privileged zones. It's the lighter skinned people, proximity to whiteness. And then the zones that are more dense, the darker skinned people, and they don't have access to what is available in some of the prioritized zones. But I remember in Peru, one of the things that stood out for me was how I was in my Airbnb was like in the zone where it was mostly lighter skinned, very fair complected Peruvians. And the thing that stood out is they would stop and stare at me, like I mean, stop in their tracks and watch me walk by and just stop and just like this, looking at you. Kids, adults, and I'd speak, and most of the time they wouldn't speak; they just stare. And so I realized it was not very common for them. And I didn't see a lot of people, darker skinned people in that area. I didn't, and I was by myself. So I don't know if part of it was not used to seeing Black women navigating by themselves. I don't know what all was behind the steering. But on that trip, I did an excursion because, like I said, I want to see the other areas and I want to see the Black people. And so I went to the Afro Peruvian community, and it is very much like the States. Like you can tell that as the community changes, and you can tell the financial resources and access they have, you definitely see it. These countries they have their own version of gentrification that is happening, and especially as Americans are moving to these countries, there's the gentrification that happens there. But the highlight for me in Peru was I turned this corner and I was in the Afro Peruvian community, and I turned this corner and there's these Black Afro-Peruvian men, and they were sitting listening to some music, and I I turned the corner, and the first thing I heard was this man who said "Sister," and and he gave me the fist, the Black Power symbol. It was so hilarious to me because it was just like, okay, they really connected. Like as soon as I hit that corner, I was like, okay, I found my people. They were so excited to see me. I have some pictures on my Instagram page when I hit that community, and they were dancing. They invited me to sit and listen, and some of them could speak English, but they were so very excited to see me in their community. And I was like, okay, these are my people. This is the community, and it's very unfortunate that those communities, like I mean, as I talk about redlining, and the impacts that redlining has had on the states, and you can tell Black communities and how highways and railroads and divided the community, and how resources and access wasn't given to Black and brown communities in the states. And you already know, as you hit our community, and you're going to see companies that offer the payday loans, and you're going to see all of the fast food restaurants that you don't see in their communities, and you're going to see, the liquor stores, all of those things that are synonymous with Black and Brown communities in the States, and the lack of, and we all know that also leads to crime. All of the things that are by the design of the United States, you see a lot of that still in other countries, but um, I still want to be on in those areas with the people, and so I make it my business to go to those areas. Okay, somebody is asking me about the hotel I'm talking about. I'm gonna drop. Um, but yes, so that is there is a Black community here. It is. Um, we're here. We're everywhere. Um, Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for that support. Okay, so Elle is asking me about the Eaton Hotel. I just dropped that, the hotel that I was talking about that is focused on social justice. And so as I remember the story, I think the hotel is owned by an Asian woman, if I remember the story right. Her father is a very wealthy businessman, and I think he gave her money to open this hotel, but the purpose behind the hotel needed to be focused on, needed to be more than a hotel. And so I think that's kind of what I understood the story for this hotel. And so, um, just looking at their website, the link that I just dropped in the channel. So this is um, Eaton, DC, and it says a mission-driven hospitality, a cultural hub. Eaton Workshop is more than a hotel. Here, hospitality is a means for community, creativity, and culture. Eaton, DC, Eaton Workshop's flagship hotel in downtown DC is a welcoming and inclusive cultural hub for kindred spirits, locals, and travelers alike to convene, collaborate, and create. Within walking distance of the Smithsonian Museum's Black Lives Matter Plaza, Capitol Hill, and the Convention Center, guests a part of the culture of a world-class city and enjoy the comforts of a boutique hotel. I struggle with that, y'all. I need to go read to some kids. Um, so it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. That link that I dropped, you can see the rooms. Very interesting boutique hotel. Very cool rooms. It has a co-working space. People have offices there. They have a lab. A lot of meeting space, and will be a very, very, very cool space to have an event. Uh, Michelle, I think you're talking about if Michelle. Let me go back because I got distracted. I think you're talking about. Uh-oh. I think you might be talking about Mariah, who is micromedulla. When you said she didn't have a bathroom, that threw me off. She was building. She's got. I forgot what she calls it. She's a designer, and she has a beautiful tiny house, but she was building an outdoor bathroom, like a sauna type thing. If that's who you're talking about, Mariah. She's in school, and maybe I don't know if she's done anything to her house lately, or um, because she's been in school. If that's who you're talking about, let me know if that rings more of a bell. Thank you, Elle. I appreciate that. Worthing Park. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Josh. So I had a meeting with him and AJ, um, and so they're putting together some work for communities, and so we'll touch bases with them again. Viola is saying, I'm 76 years of age and a 40-year breast cancer survivor, no treatment. Absolutely. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Congratulations to you. That is a beautiful story. Um, so I'm hoping that some community becomes available for you that you'll find interest in. Viola says, I'm friends with the Panamanian family that lives in Philadelphia since 1964. Very nice. Right. Elle is saying, I want to be treated socially, culturally, and politically as kin, not the Black American with coins. Absolutely. I agree with that. And so navigating that space, that's where I was saying like the gentrification, navigating that space and not coming over and taking advantage of that privilege is something that I don't know that we necessarily do it. Um, I have been in and left some expat groups, like I was in a expat group for Mexico, and it was not a Black expat group. It was just an expat group from Mexico, and I ended up leaving it because what I saw happening in that expat group was white people were leaving the United States to move to Mexico because most of these countries have better healthcare systems than we do, more affordable healthcare systems than we do. And the cost of living is so much better. So you can retire early in these countries. But they were also in this country taking their racism to the country. And so in some of the groups, they were in this group, they were specifically talking about how there were white people moving to Mexico, but they were taking like their Trump signs and flags and things and flying those in Mexico. And it's like, how disrespectful is that? Not surprising, but how disrespectful is that to be in. So it's one thing in the United States where we know we have so much racism, and we know there was a president who specifically was racist against so many targeted communities. But how totally disrespectful is it that you take that racism and you feel privileged enough to take that racism to their country? And you feel privileged enough to fly that flag that represents that racism in their country. And so I obviously didn't stay in that group very long, but I'm with you. I don't want to be that person in someone else's country. Let's see. What else? Angela is saying, I remember seeing your tiny house built and set up in North Carolina with deck, and I think beautiful round shaped window along with the eccentric soulful colors. I would love to have a similar model for myself. I will drop the link. I do sell my tiny house plans for the original tiny house. I haven't updated my plans to include the additional space that I've added in the last couple of years, but it is absolutely possible to build my tiny house from my plans. Um, so I think Michelle and Teresa are trying to figure out the person that, and I think you're talking about Mariah, Micromedulla. I'll drop the link to her video um, in this video once I update it, and I'll check in with her to see if she has any updates she wants to share with the community. Hello, Allison. Welcome. Yes, so yes, I do think she was a designer. That is Mariah. Very welcome, Elle. 70-year-old Viola is saying a 70-year-old white man in Hot Springs, North Carolina this summer said we were all cousins. I'm not going to touch that one. Um, Jewel, I thought Michelle was speaking about Ediaca. Ediaca Chalome. So Ediaca has a bathroom in her house, and she's not a designer. If she's a designer, you're talking about Mariah. Ediaca is actually I think she's still over at my house. So I've been house sitting for Ediaca. She was so when we talked to her the first time, I think the second time she had moved because she's been on the show twice. When we talked to her the second time, she had relocated her house and she was in North Carolina. She was in Red Springs, North Carolina, which is maybe an hour, like was what is an hour, like hour 15 minutes from where my tiny house is. And so it was really cool to have her literally down the road from me, like the highway that you used to get to my house. If you just kept, instead of turning left to come to me, if you just kept going straight down about another hour 15 minutes, you could get to Ediaca. So we were down the street from each other, down the road from each other. But now she is having to relocate her house, and so she hasn't found a place yet for her home. And so I am literally house sitting for her. And her house is in the backyard of my house. And so you all know I don't own the land that my tiny house is on. And the people who own the land, my friend whose property it is, they don't want anyone else to live on the land. So, but they've allowed her to store her home there while she's looking for a place to place it. So her house has been there, I think we're going on 4 months, and she's kind of navigating, um, figuring out where she wants to be. She also does, she's got a cute little, is it a Honda Element? I think that's what it is. A lot of people um, kit out Honda Elements and they stay in Honda Elements. And so she's been navigating this summer, staying at friends' places. She's been doing trusted house sitters, which I do sometimes, and I've shared with you all. And then she will stay in her Honda Element. And so this past weekend, I think her birthday is tomorrow. And so this past weekend, she was in the area. She needed to come to the house and kind of swap out her wardrobe as the season changes. So I got to hang out with her Thursday. I think it was Thursday. And then she was at the house, my at her house swapping out her stuff. My cameras told me there was a person on the property, so she was swapping out her stuff from her house. And so I've gotten to see her the last few days. Um, and I'm literally house sitting for her, but it's a literal tiny house. So it's been very cool and I wish I could offer her a place because it has been kind of cool to have another tiny house. Like we felt like our houses were meeting friends because my house has never been around another tiny house. And I don't think hers has either. So it was really kind of cool. Um, Anyway, so I don't think you're talking about Ediaca. I think you're talking about Mariah. Allison is saying, would you mind sharing the name of your planner? I agree. Exodus Summit was wonderful this year as well. Met you at the Mexico meetup a few years back. Okay, very cool. So I will be seeing that group here in Panama. I'm going to meet up with them in just about 30 minutes here in Panama. I'm getting ready to share the planner that I'm talking about, this company. And again, I share information. I don't, as my friend says, I'm the plug. I don't get anything from this organization, but as as often as I can spend my money in Black and Brown community and businesses, that's what I'm going to do. So that is the link to Notique. Very, very nice planners and bags and things that they have. And again, a little pricier than, but Staples and Office Depot can afford um, to sell their things cheaper. So, but I'm willing to pay a little bit more to support a small Black business. Let's see. Let's see. So that's the name of the planner. Yes. So Elle is saying they come as conquerors, never neighbors. So as I was sharing about what I had seen happen in that with some of the white folks moving to Mexico, that is exactly it. That privilege just, whew. Rosin said it. White privilege is a stench that permeates national borders. Absolutely, absolutely. Linda, you're asking what time? Hi, Frederick. Frederick is saying, I finally caught a live. Yes, you caught a live. It's the tail end of it, but you caught a live. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. Linda, are you asking, you're asking about something about what time? Are you asking about the time of the event in November? Tell me what you're asking about. Jay is saying, I'll reach out to you. We have family property that I want to rent out to tiny homes. I'm very early in the planning and I'm also in North Carolina. Please do. Um, please do. The work that I'm doing in that to automate, take to an app the manual work that I have been doing from a spreadsheet in connecting property owners and tiny house owners. I am working on that app and trying to help you all facilitate connection. So that is one of the things that I want to do. But I would love to talk to you if, I don't know if your comment is relative to me saying Ediaca is looking for a place for her tiny house. So if either of those things are true, then yes, please do reach out. Hey, Keisha. I am right now. I am in Casco Viejo, Casco Viejo, Viejo, Viejo. I think that's right. This is the old city. Beautiful there. Up there. There is a big Catholic church here. A lot of bars and restaurants, like gentrification in another way. Um, and you can, where I'm staying is a little further up in the wall city, so you can see some of the areas that haven't been gentrified and the kind of the neighborhood changes. But it's a beautiful area. I'm not staying in the city proper or the bigger area this time. This is my first time staying in this area. Thank you, Linda. You have a great week too. Allison, you're very welcome. Um, Sharon is saying, I am researching moving to Panama in retirement. So there are, if you're on Facebook, there is a group, I think it's Black Women in Panama. There's also Black Expats in Panama. My friend Charlotte Van Horn has that group. And the very first time that I came to Panama, she does a fabulous, the first time and the second time, she does a relocation tour. And the first time I came here, I attended her very first tour, and she takes you around Panama to all of the cities in Panama. You meet the local people, the local people that she works with on this talks about their area. You get to see the area, you visit houses and restaurants in those areas. It is a way for someone who doesn't know exactly where they want to be in Panama to be able to see the entire area with a guided tour. What else did we do? It was one of the very cool opportunities where we were visiting a condo. In front of the condo was the ocean, but to the left were mountains. And so it was like the best of both. You could see mountains. And I've forgotten the name of that city, Boqueta, I think. But there are a lot of resources online if you are interested in that Exodus Summit group. There are a lot of women who are looking into Panama, so I would encourage you to connect for community. Um, Elle is saying, looking for a company to manufacture excellent quality tote bags. Everything that I've ordered from Notique so far has really been on point. So I will say that. I don't know about the bags, but I would think that they were. And their customer service is excellent. Absolutely, Keisha. Absolutely. Panama is high on my list. Glad to have you. All right. Oh well, thank you, Crystal. All right. I think that's all I had. I'll update this. Like I was delinquent. I will tell you. I just started up. I just updated the information in the live from last Sunday. So I will honestly say so. Sunday and Monday, I did the Exodus Summit. And I was really focused, like I said, on the content. And then Thursday, I went back to work at my corporate job, and I struggled. Like I really had to have a conversation with myself as to why I could not quit. Because part of me was saying, "Let's do this. Like we can make this happen. Let's hustle. Let's do this." And then the part of me that is the more sensible persons was saying, and I don't know if it's more sensible saying you can't quit your job, but I really struggled that Tuesday. Like I didn't want to do it. They had, corporate jobs always have a fire drill. Everything is important. everything is important, but this thing is important for these few minutes. We got to do this, drop everything. And that's not where I want to be right now. So I struggled last week in trying to figure out um, how not to quit my job. So I will keep refocusing myself, and I will stand for you all to keep reminding me and supporting and showing me that the work that I'm doing is valuable so I can figure out how to keep moving this forward. So I thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Absolutely. Charlotte Van Horn. Yes, her Facebook group. Um, okay. She's fabulous. And her tours are really, really good. A lot of information, a lot of connections. She has connections to the legal side of what you'll need to know moving into Panama, actually connecting you to the people who can help you navigate the space. So all of those good things. Oh, Michelle is asking, how did the electrical work end up? It is complete. The work is done. It was very expensive, like I knew it was going to be, but it is done. And I moved into gratitude in that it happened before winter, so I wasn't having to pay extras and people working in the cold, and I wasn't in the cold. So I'm grateful. It's done, and I'll now have to work on recouping my funds. Um, so gratitude got me through that one. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, Crystal, my struggle was real. Um, Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sharon. Whew, I had to go outside. Look, I went outside and I was like, because y'all know I'm in this rural area. I was like, God, can you give me a note? Like, could you write out here in this field whether I can quit my job? Like, it was like old school. Do you want to go with me? Yes or no? I was like, can you just write yes or no whether I can quit my job? And if I quit my job, if I'm going to be okay. He didn't give me that note, but I did have a conversation with a friend out of the blue later on who said it's just not smart to quit a job and you don't have another job. And he was talking about somebody else, not me. So I was like, well, maybe this is God telling me, this giving me the sign that I wanted him to write out here in this field. Um, anyway, yes, I will. I know I will. I know I will. Oh, Rosalind says this is the eighth anniversary of me getting kicked off the corporate America plantation. I've been self-employed and thriving. Rosalind, we need to talk about what you do and if you're interested in sharing that. That's beautiful. Thank you. Yes, a lot of the cancer is stress and food. Stress is a major health, a danger to health. Absolutely. Absolutely. Financial planning helps with quitting. It does. It does. So part of what I did, and I gotta go. I'm supposed to be going to a meetup. Part of what I did as part of the Exodus Summit is sat down and looked at my bills and finished working on because moving, I will say relocating, um, where I got my bills to a good place, relocating the work that I had to do the first time when I moved my house, the infrastructure. There's a cost in infrastructure, and so that cost is a lot. Moving, setting everything back up. So my finances are out of whack again from having to relocate to before. So now again, some more expenses. So I've sat down and worked on a plan for paying off these bills, and so that when I do quit, that I can do it more intelligently. But yeah, I was asking God, can you just write out here in this field? And he didn't, but I think I understood I couldn't. So anyway, thank you all very much for being here. I so appreciate you all. I hope to see um, some of you in person in November in Charlotte, and then as I navigate other spaces that we'll go to. Absolutely, congrats, Rosalind. Um, Others places that I'll go to connect with some of you there. All right, so I'm going to close this out. Again, thank you all for the community. You all don't know how much I appreciate you all. So thank you. This isn't what I was trying to share. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Linda, I have to go because I'm going to be late. Fortunately, it's like 6 minutes down the road where I am going to. Ella saying, I retired to save my life. I did my research prior to retiring and put things in place. Absolutely. That's smart. Enjoy your meetup. Thank you, Crystal. The research, due diligence. I talk about due diligence and the importance of due diligence all the time. Jay is saying be sure to increase the rate on your money market accounts. All of these things. That is the due diligence. In my place of emotion, I just wanted to a sign that said I could quit, and I wasn't in. Thank you, Frederick. I wasn't in that place, but if God had wrote yes in that in the field, I was going to do it. So anyway, that's another story. Um, Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. This again has been the What's Your Question as I talk about tiny houses and all the things in and around the movement, sharing tips, hopefully to help someone in this journey, in the tiny house journey, in the life journey, all of those things. So that is what we've done today, and I so appreciate you all for being here. Thank you, Elle, and I hope everyone has a very great Sunday. Take care, everybody. Be safe.